Hi and welcome again to Money Monday with Doc Michelle. And I was wondering, what can I share with you today? And I was then chatting with a friend of mine who is really battling financially and just feels overwhelmed with all the activities that she's got to do. So we sat down and I suggested that she does this. And maybe, just maybe, this is something that you need to hear today. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, and you feel that you're not bringing in the income as an entrepreneur that you ought to be bringing in, then I highly recommend and suggest that you take a little bit of what we call thinking time and do this exercise for yourself. So what you're going to do is you're going to get your piece of paper, especially before you go to bed, and I'm going to ask you, draw a line down your piece of paper. Mom has told you to do this many times, to process what's working for you, what's not working for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to now ask ourselves, what activities do I do Okay, so all your money-making activities, we're going to put on one side. Now, all your non-money-making activities, you're going to list on the other side. So, let's list a few activities that we could possibly think of. So, as an entrepreneur, a non-money-making activity, and this is very serious, it's entirely up to you, all right, if you're going to do this. One of them could be something as simple as making coffee, all right? Now, is that a serious one? And how long does it take you to make coffee? So let's say it takes you a good 10 minutes. By the time you've boiled the kettle, put the stuff in the coffee, done what you've got to do. How many cups of coffee do you take a day? That's the question. So let's say you do that 3 times a day. That's 30 minutes of your day that you possibly could have done something a little bit more productive. A money-making activity is, if you are an entrepreneur, could be things like making phone calls, okay? Phone calls to set up appointments, sell your product, whatever it might be that you might have to do. So if you had to go through and say, okay, fine, what are my money-making activities and what are my non-money-making activities? Now, let's say you really got to get yourself out this rut, you've got to get yourself going, you've really got to find time. Now, I know fetching and carrying our children is so important, not just to us, but to our children. But what happens if collecting your children from school is not a money-making activity, just hypothetically, okay? So we're going to say children, school. What happens if you then went to your children and said, listen, for 1 month, I'm going to pull you off, palm you off on someone else, all right? But just for 1 month, mom needs that hour or dad needs that hour to utilize it to visit a client or whatever it is that you need to do to make money-making activities, to create the wealth, just for 1 month. And then you say to them at the end of the month, I'll take you for a milkshake or whatever it is, to bounce so that they could bounce and have a bouncy bounce, whatever. Okay, just negotiate with them and see this. So make all your money-making activities and see where just for 1 month you can take the time to say, hold on, how can I now just spend those few minutes and change? Because if you had to take already that hour and that 30, you've created 1.5 hours in your day that you might not have had before. And just do it for 1 month, do it for your 30 days. Make sure you create that time so that you can go and say, how do I focus on all my money-making activities? Do that for 1 month and see how that will change your financial situation. This is Doc Michelle signing off. Have fun with this activity, and who knows, it could just turn your life around. Take care. Cheers.